Well, I'm here in Tampa. That's my facility straight ahead there. This turned out to be a pretty, I guess I shouldn't speak before I know, but it looks like this is going to be a pretty easy delivery. It's, you know, not a home
Turn
address.
left, then take the
It's an
first
actual
right.
business I'm delivering to, which is an improvement. So, I'm going to go check in and get untarped and get this lumber pulled off, and then most likely be deadheading out of Florida for a to pick up a load tomorrow out of Alabama or Georgia. Well, good morning, guys, from Florida. Down here making this lumber delivery. It looks pretty straightforward. I haven't checked in yet, but there's a big line up there, so, and I don't even think the office is open yet. So I'm pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm gonna go ahead and untarp, or get started anyways. These tarps rode like this for over 3,000 miles. I didn't, from the time I tarped in Washington, I didn't touch the tarps. Not one bungee had to be adjusted, nothing. I put another notch on this and that was it. Wow, and then the rest of the straps, but the tarps themselves didn't get, that's what's nice when you get familiar with tarping, you're familiar with your equipment and your stuff. You get to the point where you can just tarp once and be done. You don't have to, when I was new, a new flatbedder, I was constantly pulling over to adjust the tarp or you know, tighten up something. All right, guys, I've got my rope pulled on both sides, and that strap off the outside, and I'll go ahead and pull these off, but I'm just gonna pull up in line. Don't really want to pull full tarps off and fold them up right here, just in case. Well, I guess it may not matter, but just pull up in line before I get started with the rest of it. All right, guys, I'm untarped. My straps are still on there, but I'm gonna pull up after this guy pulls up, and then take all my straps off, and then I'll be ready to go to get unloaded. All right, guys, I booked that oversized load, and this is the first of many permits, Alabama's oversized permit. So this is going to be a ongoing thing, printing out permits and reading over them. Okay, guys, I'm printing out permits for that oversized load, and I've got to get to bed because I got to get up pretty early. So I've got Alabama and Mississippi sitting here, and I guess I got an email while I was driving. I need to send the permit company a copy of an IRS SS4 form. No idea what that form is. So rather than going to sleep or hauling a load, I've got to research and find out what the hell an SS4 form is, fill it out, print it, fill it out, scan it back in, and send it over to the permit company. The thing that kind of bothers me, how do they expect truck drivers to do this typically? I mean, I carry a laptop and a printer and a scanner, but does every flatbed driver carry that? Because how else do you do this? Oh my gosh, I just looked it up at on the website. An SS4 form. I didn't remember what that was. It's the employer identification number form or application. Well, I wish the permit company just would have asked me for my employee identification number, which I already have one. I've had one for, of course, everybody has to have one. So I don't know why she sent me that. Anyway, guess that's easier than I thought. Thank goodness. All right, guys. This is all I'm going to do for the night. I've got the Alabama permit. I've got the Mississippi permit. I've got the Arkansas permit, and I've got Missouri permit. We don't have Tennessee yet because Tennessee needed special stuff, and we don't have what was the other one? Iowa. They needed a copy of my cab card, so these will get me started though anyway. So tomorrow I got to go load that oversized steel, so I'm good to go on permits. I got to read through all these, make sure there's not special any instructions, make sure I take the right routes. So fun. All right, guys, got my steel load here. Looks like it hangs over the trailer a little bit. Hope that's not going to be a problem. This is a light enough load that probably don't even need to bother with chains. I'm a little worried about steel sliding. So it's not ever fun to switch the loading process. They put these 2x4s, I guess they're 2x3s. I should have asked them to use the 4x4s they had sitting there, because I'm suspicious that when they unload me it's going to be a forklift. This is going to Montana. They probably don't have the big crane with the magnet. And it would have been a little easier to get my tarps tucked in and everything. Kind of realized that after they put everything out, I thought, well, probably should have asked them to use the bigger dunnage, but they're not really accustomed to doing it, so. Oh, I never. Oops. Would have made this a little easier to get the straps up and over there. It would have been a little easier to get that up and off the trailer a little bit further. So this was supposed to be, at least when I booked it, 45,000 pounds. But when I got here, he's like, the guy that loaded me, he's like, oh, it's gonna be a light one. It's only 5 ton. Ow. Man. I gotta watch that. Good thing I got a hard hat on. Just hit my head on that doggone edge there. All right. Almost seems, I don't know, I better. Seems a little overkill to be running this stuff. There's no other way to protect that edge. Gonna suck a little bit when if I get to Montana and it's cold and wet. It'll be difficult to pull this felt up. I hate getting this felt wet because it takes forever to dry. I have to find a sunny day and put it up on the deck. You know what I mean? And let it dry. So I don't want to cover. See, it would have been, I really should have had to put it up on 4x4s. Would have been easier to tuck everything underneath it. Because sometimes, you know, these guys load 100 trucks a day and you figure they probably know what they're doing, and they do know what they're doing. Sometimes you don't figure it's worth bothering their process. Sometimes they do it that way for a reason, and I've had times where I've changed it and then realize later on that the reason they did it that way was something I didn't see coming, you know. So now I'm wondering in this sort of a situation, I think I'd be better off running my tarps first and then strapping over the top of my tarp, because it's gonna be, oh boy. Yeah, see, I really wish I would have had them put 4x4s up there, because now I got nowhere to put my tarp, and I'm gonna have a hell of a lot of tarp left over. Well, I'm gonna run my tarps first, and then my straps, because that's gonna be about the only thing that holds my tarps on. It's gonna be kind of difficult to get any bungees that do any good, because fortunately, this stuff is 30 foot long, and my tarps are 27. So I'll need 2 tarps for basically 3 feet. I wish on my other truck, I carry what I call a coil tarp. So we carry 4 foots like this. Actually, I switched to 5s for him, for Jeff. Oops, this is the wrong side. But I also have a coil tarp, which is just a 16 by 16 straight tarp, no flaps. That works nice for when your 4 foots are a little short. Less than an entire tarp to cover that little gap. I think because of the way we got this going, I'm gonna run at least this tarp backwards. Because I don't want that flap to be flapping around in the breeze. On the forward tarp, can't do that very well, because that flap is going to be out on the surface. Show you what I mean. Might have to run the forward tarp the correct way. You got stuff like this, these flaps just get in the way. In my garage, I have a set of 2 foot tarps for this very reason. But I started not carrying them because it's so rare you get to use them. You guys, do you think that the DOT will notice that it's hanging over a little bit? I don't think anyone's gonna tell, right? Can't hardly tell it's hanging over. I mean, it's only hanging over, you know, like 10 inches. It's not too bad. I'm just kidding, guys. I got permits. Kind of funny, you know, when freight ends up being small, it becomes almost more difficult to tarp. So I'm going to throw the straps, and the straps will be going through here, and there almost won't be a need for bungees. I might run a couple. So because that flap now, if I don't put it in front, it's going to be in the back flapping around. And I guess it won't really matter. I might be able to tuck it underneath and then strap it. I won't be able to do anything in front. It's going to get in the way. I'll go ahead and do it backwards again and just deal with it on the back side. Because if I put that flap in the front without having any room under the steel that I can tuck it, I kind of screwed up, guys. I should have seen that coming and said, hey, could you put these 4x4s underneath there? I'm gonna need more space for my tarps. Didn't even think about the tarps. I did think about the offloading, and I was gonna call Montana to ask them, but they're not open yet. It's pretty early in Montana still. So we're gonna have to deal with it on the other side. If they can't get under it with a forklift, we're gonna have to lift up the corners, put our 4x4 underneath there, and then lift up another corner, basically jack it up off the truck a little bit. See what I can do here. Where did I grab that? There we go. All right. I'm gonna turn the camera off while I get things situated. My battery's pretty close to dying, so get some straps situated, figure out what I'm gonna do, and then turn the camera back on. Okay, so this is what I decided to do. There's no other way other than tuck this up there. I'll run that back there. This is what I mean, like if they would have put 4x4s instead of these 2x whatever, I'd have a little more room to tuck tarps. This would have made it a little easier. There's just so little room between the trailer and the steel. It's gonna be a bitch to get my straps in there. I might have to feed them through. I might not be able to get the hook up and over. Might have to feed it through the long way. So if you load stuff like this that's over the width, if I do it again, I'm gonna remember to tell them, look, use some thicker material. It'd be fine if you weren't. See, he used thicker material. It'd be fine if you weren't oversized, and if you didn't have to tarp. If you didn't tarp and you weren't oversized, the way they did it would have been fine. There's just so much tarp. Man, if you had only 8-foot tarps, this would be a real chore. This would be even more tarp.
What's going on, bud?
Good, how are you?
Good. They don't do this here by appointments, right? It's just
What are you picking up, plate?
Yeah.
It's 24.
Yeah, I know it's 24 sale, cause I was just curious, cause you had got here, but after me, and there was another truck that got here after me, but they got pulled in before me. But y'all got pulled in before me.
I wonder if
I've been here a couple times before. I know they go by, you know, you get the test missions, but I'm like, well.
I wonder if there's something wrong with your freight. I wonder if it's not ready.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the most of the ones that have been coming in the oversized. I'm on legal still though, but yeah, I ain't got no notification yet. But I was like, I got here at 6 o'clock this morning. You pulled in a little after 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't notice you, but you were probably parked there when I got here, huh?
Yeah,
I was only parked here for a few minutes and they pulled me right in.
I got here right at 6, and then the truck that was on the other side of me, he backed in, and then I guess he went on, and I'm like, okay.
I wonder if you could call the office to figure out if they forgot about you.
Right,
There's no number to the scale house, is there?
No, all I got is the number where it tells you, but I mean, I still just got the welcome email right. I'm on text message right now. But yeah, I was just curious.
No, they forgot about you, I'm afraid.
Yeah, what it seemed like.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like I said, it was only 1 or 2 trucks. I'm like, well, I don't see 1 or 2, 3 trucks go in before.
I mean, unless they're still getting your steel ready or something, but mine was sitting there in a bundle ready to go.
Right. All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Oh yeah. I want to tuck up these ends. If I can do it. Let's see, maybe a long and a short. Ooh, I hate that. It's gonna whip. Damn. I hate doing dorky shit like this, but I want to keep that off my tarp. This is going to want to come out and whip around in the wind. All right. All right, now throw some straps. That might be the end of it. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get my hooks up in there. Nope. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I can't even get... Yeah, okay. Let's see, I want one right on this edge where the tarps come together, so that'll be for that. This is only 10,000 pounds, so honestly, those two chains in front and back to keep it from sliding and two straps would have been really all you needed. Except for I'm almost using straps to keep the tarp from rolling around, so probably should, you know, I did every other hook because I thought I'd have straps, but I might go back and put more bungees in just to keep things from rattling around. If I can do a strap where there's no bungee. Cow. Wad it up. Okay, I think you guys get the picture. I'm going to save some battery life. Okay, this morning I stopped and got some zip ties so that I can zip tie my flags on there from the straps. I technically
Probably zip tie it to the bungee, but I like the strap idea better. You know what? I think the bungee might work better because this is going to keep it. Yeah, never mind, guys. I think I'll just zip tie it to the bungee because it won't get super tight on the strap, and then that is going to constantly flap around, possibly break that zip tie. Those zip ties aren't very strong. They're just Love Specials. I think this will work pretty good. I'm just going to get everything tightened down, and then put all my flags up, my oversized flags, and review my route, because oversized, I have a specific permit. Now, I went over the route with the permit company. I hire I don't order my own permits because every state has their own portal you have to log into online, and it would just be exhausting to go and make an account at every single state that I have to drive through when I don't do oversized in the same state ever, and I honestly don't do that much. All right, guys, what do you think? I haven't done oversized on this trailer before. The other trailer, the license plate's up top, I think. So this is kind of a trick to get the sign on and not hide the license plate or the lights. I'm gonna put this stuff away. Well, while I got the camera going, I'll just go. So we've got a flag on each corner of the material. I've got an extra flag on the back just because I had those. And then we've got the oversized sign, flags, and strobe light. Let me know if I missed anything, guys. It's been a while since I've done oversized, so I don't think I missed anything. We're just wide. I don't think I need a rear strobe light, considering that can be seen from the rear. If I had tall freight and that you couldn't see that cab one, then I might be in violation. Okay, I'm gonna go up to the scale house, pick up my paperwork, and then get on. So I picked these up. Thought that was a pretty cool. These are the same thing I've got on my front bumper. They're pretty nice. I really didn't need to put this on the back, but oh well. All right, that's it, guys. I'm gonna get the heck out of here. All right, guys, I am in Plains, Montana, getting this load delivered. I'm gonna do a time lapse here so I can hurry up and get this untarped, and I'm gonna hopefully get some more freight on the trailer today, and run over the holiday, unfortunately.
Okay, guys, this was the delivery over there in Plains, Montana, and this load went pretty good. It was 10.2 wide. It was super light, only 10,000 pounds. I was kind of surprised. Everyone thought it was heavier, so this load was definitely pretty profitable, considering how light it was and everything. I don't love running oversized because of all the curfews and permits and stuff, but this one turned out pretty good. So what happened was we I delivered that lumber in in Florida, and then I booked a load while I was parked there after I got empty, and I deadheaded out to Mobile, Alabama to pick up this steel. That's where it came from. And then ran it up to Plains, Montana. And then after this, I had talked to some brokers, and there wasn't anything very close, and I think Christmas Eve was the next day. And so I deadheaded all the way back to Washington State, picked up another one of those cedar loads that went down to Tampa, the exact load that I delivered on the start of this video. So so that's what I did. So because that would take me all the way through Christmas and cover up that whole week and that whole weekend with a big load. So I committed to a long deadhead, had horrible rate per mile, but got a lot of revenue in a period of time when I wasn't really going to be able to do anything. And because I was in Montana, I was, a long ways from home and nothing could get me home. So I just decided to run through the weekend. So that's what I did, guys.
All right, guys, got paperwork here. Just got finished loading over at the Cedar place. Heading down to Florida with it. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and I'm in Washington heading to Florida, so I don't know if I'm going to be home for the holiday. Home is on the way, but I don't know. I might just head to Florida. All right, guys, today, same as before. This is another load of cedar going to Tampa. I did 2 of these, so pretty much the same thing. The load's a little different though. I have a little bit of deck space on front and back, which will be a little nicer. It's easier to make the tarp. And I got smart this time, and I had them throw the tarps up there, and then I strapped over the top. So now I won't have to lift the tarps. It would have been, I probably could have lifted them up here and then stood up there and got them up there, but yeah, it's just easier to do that. So we'll go right back to same thing as before, tarping this load. And then this is the 23rd of December, so I got to deliver on Monday after Christmas down in Florida. So oh, damn it. Come on, Cole, figure it out. I didn't undo my, I should have loosened that strap. Oh, damn it. And because I've got some deck space, I'm not going to be too worried about getting down. You could throw a strap. Now I specifically wound this one so I could loosen it, and then I forgot to loosen it. So what I was saying is that if this was taller and you didn't have a way to get up, you could leave a strap loose and you could climb up, and then you could run your back tarp, climb back down, throw a strap over the tarp, and that's your ladder back down. Otherwise you get it all tarped and then you can't grab your straps. Much easier. Okay. I like to give it a couple inches overhang. And I went in there and ordered breakfast because last time I was here I smelt the bacon cooking and made me really want breakfast, and I thought, well, this time I'm gonna make, I'm not in a major hurry this time. I'm gonna sit down for breakfast, and since I'm mostly a carnivore, I normally just order a bunch of eggs and double meat and everything. Well, they charge like I don't know what, I ordered 4 eggs and she's like, we charge like, what'd she say, $3.95 per egg. And I was like, well, just do 3 eggs. And then I said, she's like, do you want bacon or sausage? I said, I want both. Like, it'll be an extra $6.99 for the extra side. And I'm like, screw it, just put bacon on there. And then she goes, what toast do you want? No toast. All right, just hash browns and the eggs and the bacon, right? And I said, no hash browns. And she kind of looked at me funny, which makes sense. And then she bills it out at 16 bucks for breakfast. And I have 4 tiny strips of bacon and 3 eggs. The entire breakfast in most places is all carbs. If you're not eating carbs for breakfast, you don't get much. Okay, I got this a little off here. I always like to take a little extra care to get everything nice and straight, because especially on this long of a haul, all the wind and everything just kind of looks better, it rides better. That's close enough. So here's where, if this was a tall load and you had no way down, you'd want to run your you'd already would have your loose strap on this side, which you climbed up on, so you'd climb back down like a mountain climber on a line, and then throw a strap over that right there, so you have a way down before you run this forward tarp. Kind of wish they would have squared this up, but oh well. So I got done with breakfast and I'm thinking, gosh, wasn't even worth ordering it. I'm still hungry. I'm gonna have to go cook me a half-pound of hamburger and a couple more eggs. So you want to be careful when you're up here because it's easy to step off this over here and lose your balance. All right. That's probably a little too much hangover because how much we have on that side, so looks like it's pretty square. All right. Probably about right. Okay, so I want to make sure we pull the backward tarp forward. When I can, I like to put the middle of the bungee to use. I'm gonna go to the other side so I don't get We've got a lot of wind to go through in Wyoming. Lately it's been super windy all over the place. So this load, because of the way that top section breaks, I'm not too worried about the backward tarp coming off because, well, it's still just midway, but we have a little more overlap. The last time I did this, guys, it was my other video. It was the way it broke, I don't remember how it was, but it was like it was just on the verge of where that top piece was. Made it really easy for that to come back. Okay, so what I always like to do to get started, that is the first thing. You hold the backward tarp forward so it can't slide back on you. And then we get the long bungees. I always carry 31-inch bungees and 21-inch bungees. And I like to tie in my front and back of the tarp before I do the sides. Just, it seems like it's the hardest thing to do, so I like to get it caught up, and then the sides are easy. So on the forward, the
the forward flap comes down over the top of the side flaps. And it's much nicer when you, like this here, you've got some room. Oh boy, I should have given it more. So if you have smaller bungees, you'll want to have more hangover on your tarp. I like to fold this in just to make this piece come together nicely. And when you can, do the hooks towards the product so it doesn't come and hit your brand new tarps. But okay, and then this piece comes down over the top, so the wind deflects around and water deflects around. Otherwise, if you do it the other way, the wind will kind of be ripping on it all the time. Okay. You know, like I said, I like to double the bungee up when I can so that hook doesn't rub on your tarp. On 3,200 miles of trip, there's a lot of time for your tarp to rub on the bungees. Sometimes you can't avoid it though, so just do what you gotta do. Uh-oh, not good. Okay, so mostly the front's buttoned up now. Just gonna go do the same thing with the back, only opposite as far as the flaps are concerned. I better use a long one on that. Oops. Where's another long one? Okay. See? That's remnants of these hooks. That's why I always say tarps last about 10 loads. And if you think about it, if you haul 10 of these loads, that's 32,000 miles. Okay, we need some more long ones. I think we're about out. Let's see, we got 1, 2. I remember to tighten that back up, guys. Remind me to tighten that back up. Don't want to head off. Okay. All my long ones are in the back, of course. I take every single one off. Come on. Okay. There should be enough. I hate it when the guys do that in the parking lot. The other day I was in Colorado and a prime driver was getting ready to back in next to me, and the guy beside me had his door open. He was doing something, had his door open, and the prime driver was afraid he was going to hit the door, and he was sitting there, just pulled up. You know, all the trucks were here. He was sitting here looking at the truck that had his door open, and rather than getting out and saying, "Hey man, think you could close your door?" he sat there and honked his horn at him about 7 times over the course of probably 5 or 7 minutes. And I'm sitting there inside my cab just looking at him like, I mean, I get he was frustrated because the guy didn't notice he was backing in, whatever, you know. But think about all the guys that were sleeping. You know, have a little common courtesy. I mean, I get it, the guy shouldn't have had his door open when a guy was trying to back in, but he didn't see him. And that's why he honked at him, right? Because he's like, oh, he doesn't see. But after the first one, or at least use your little horn, your city horn, you know, get their attention. It was clear that he had the guy's attention, but the guy wasn't pushing his so simply getting out of your driver's seat, walking the 7 feet from his door over to the other guy's door and saying, "Hey man, I'm getting ready to back in here, you mind closing your door so I don't hit it?" But instead of that, he sat there and honked his air horn, like I said, a bunch. And I eventually got out of my truck and I went up there and yelled at the guy. I'm like, you realize how many people are sleeping here, you idiot? Your shit's not more important than everybody else's. Stop being a dweeb. I told him that. I said, stop being an idiot. And he kind of looked at me. He didn't speak real good English, which is probably why he was honking his horn. Because he didn't want to get out there and talk to somebody when he couldn't speak the language. But it just kind of ticks me off, and I'm sure people have had issues with that before. It's like, I get you're frustrated or whatever, but think about all the people that have nothing to do with your situation, that have worked all night and are trying to get sleep, whether it's daytime, night, whatever. As truck drivers, we know how the schedule works, right? And sometimes you got to sleep during the day, sometimes you got to sleep at night. When you pull in a truck stop and there's all these people parked, be considerate of those people. You know, maybe they're sleeping because they worked all night, you know. How did I do that one? That's not going to work. I got that hook backwards. So try to not cut your tarps, the hooks. Oh boy. Should have given this one a little bit more too.
I like it when you have a little bit of room to stand up on the deck for this reason. The last load, if you remember the video, it was completely shit. It was completely from one end to the back. In fact, I think it was hanging over an inch or two. Oh, nope. That'll do, guys. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run my rope, but I'm not gonna record it because it gets a little bit repetitive. Go back to my other videos and watch how I run the rope. I use, I guess I'll show you what it is. I use a bungee rope. I don't remember where I got it from. One of the flatbed companies. I mean, not companies, one of the flatbed part supply companies from either Cargo, US Cargo or Mighty. I think this was uscargo.com. Anyway, it's just a rubber rope. So, and because I have these rope hooks here, I can run it all and then just come and stitch it up. So I'm not going to record, it's just a lot of wasted recording, but go back to my other videos and I have some of those where I run the rope and you can see how I do it. If you don't have those hooks, then just use bungees on every one. And I prefer to run the middle of the bungee on the hook or on the D-ring because it's easier on your tarp. So guys, I've got a bunch of videos that I need to be editing and posting, and hopefully I'll get that done. But if you guys like flatbed content and trucking content, give the video a like and follow my channel or whatever, because I try to put stuff out whenever I can. Thanks. All right guys, all finished up. That's what it's gonna look like. Didn't take me too long. Looks pretty good. Everything's folded up, everything's put away. You guys forgot to remind me about that strap, but I remembered, so you didn't need to. So I'm gonna get moving, guys. I gotta get up and over I-90 and get over to Florida tonight. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta get on the road, guys. There it is.
All right, guys, I'm heading down into the Columbia River Gorge here on I-90, and look at the, I don't know if you can see that gauge. It's showing 20 PSI of boost on Jake brakes. With the old cat, that's quite good. It's holding me back on this hill. I've had to use the brakes a couple of times, but yeah, it's doing a pretty good job for a cat. That's one thing that a lot of people will complain about with the Caterpillar. It's got plenty of power to go up the hill, but not much jaking power to come down it. But this one seems to do pretty well. I just figured I'd talk about that a little more. So I don't know why this one does better. I wonder if it has to do with that marine cam. This does have the 800 marine cam in there. And so I'm curious if, because the cam is built to, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm wondering if the cam lobes are built to, you know, leave valves open or effectively bring more air in. I don't know. A lot of the problem with Cat Jakes is the fact that everything's wearing out on these engines, and the Jake housings are never rebuilt. Jake housings are, you know, got 2 and 3 million miles on them, and we might rebuild the Jakes as far as the components inside the Jake housing. Those are replaceable, and we do replace those. I can't think of like the springs, but and I think you can even replace the plungers inside the Jake housings. But from what I understand, the pistons will wear but also there's no sleeves in the housing. So the piston is just inside the housing. And so as the piston wears against the housing for um, 2 million miles, it starts to not seal up very good anymore, even when you put new pistons in. So on the Jake pistons, on the Jake housing. So let me get by this guy here. This is a bumpy road. Golly. Holy cow. Um, so I think today's Caterpillars, the Jakes probably work even less good, even less than they used to. I mean, Jakes never, or the Cats never had good Jakes, but you know, back in the 90s, a brand new Cat would probably have much better jaking power than it does today, just because of wear and tear on these components that can't be replaced. So here I'm gonna go ahead and get after it here. I should have got after it at the bottom. This is a pretty significant hill, and I'm not super heavy. I'm 72,000 gross, so not super heavy. This Cat is not really souped up all that much. It's only got a 500 horse tune in there, so it's actually, you know, weaker than most Cats were from the factory. It's got a weak. We purposely put a weak tune in here, but it does pretty well compared to other Cats. I have a little bit of experience with high horsepower Cats, and the one thing I like about this setup and the way we tuned it and the way it's built is my foot's on the floor right now. You can hold your foot on the floor all day long, and our EGTs don't get too hot. Our coolant is under 200 right now. It'll slowly rise, and the fan will come on, and it'll cool it right back down. So with my high horsepower Cat in my Western Star, I was constantly having heating problems on both the exhaust temp and water temp, and you know, I had tons of horsepower, but you could only use it. Like, I would have already been backing out of the throttle by now on this hill had I had the other one, because it was souped up so hot that you couldn't hold the, you know, the hill. It would just overheat. Now we're only 850 degrees on the pyro, and I've had my foot in the whole way. We're only at 200 degrees on the water temp right now, and it's not that cold outside. It's like probably in the 50s or 40s. It's not t-shirt weather, but it's hoodie weather, you know. But yeah, that did pretty well. So all right, guys, I'm coming down this lookout pass here in Montana, and I'm going to pull over to this rest area because the rest areas in Montana, they have fresh water. Is that a parking spot? Can't tell where the parking spot starts. They have fresh water. I don't know if you can see it right there by that tree. There's a fresh water spout, and I'm going to fill up all my water jugs. Beautiful, fresh mountain water. Fill up all my water jugs so I don't have to buy water on the road. And to be honest with you, the water here is probably 10 times better than the purified water you buy in the store anyway. So good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve today. Hope everybody's having a good time. Hope everybody made it home. I, of course, didn't, as you can see, but I have no reason to go home. I don't have a girlfriend anymore. Last Christmas, I had a girlfriend, which was kind of cool. But not anymore. So I wanted to do a quick video on December, just kind of like a December recap. I'll go over the loads that I took, the rates that I got for those loads, and kind of mainly because I recorded, I think, every load, but I haven't posted them because I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance to even put them in the computer and edit them, and which I don't do much editing other than turning the volume up a little bit. But so let's just go over December. I had a pretty good December with me driving this truck. I've been driving this truck since November, since I got the new driver in one of my what I call plastic fantastics, and then I got out of that truck and I went back to this old school truck. So in December, I had come out of off of the Thanksgiving holiday, loaded some freight down in Florida, deadheaded down out a route down to Panama City because I had like 2.5, maybe 3 days off where I couldn't deliver because of the way the holiday broke. Yeah, I picked up on I think Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and then I couldn't deliver until Monday, and it was only what was it? Only a 1,000-mile run. So, so anyway, I started December in Wisconsin, and then we picked up a load of rock or stone for siding, stone siding, for a custom house that was going in Colorado. So Wisconsin to Colorado for $3,500. That I want to say was over $3 a mile. I want to say it was $3,500 for like 1,090 miles. I want to say loaded. So pretty good rate going to California or Colorado, which we would expect. And then coming out of Colorado, I got the steel fabricated load. I don't know if I've posted any of that stuff yet. I have the footage for it though, but that went from Colorado to Washington State for $2,600. I think that came out to somewhere in the $1.90, $1.97 range. Then I had that delivery went so long that all Monday was taken on the delivery. And so I wasn't able to get more freight on my trailer on a Monday. So I woke up Tuesday, booked a load, got up there to pick it up, and there was a bunch of stuff. I think I have some videos that I've filmed on the whole debacle there. The load ended up canceling. I couldn't get loaded on Tuesday because it was too late in the day by the time the load canceled. So I sat around Tuesday, of course, had logged in, so I didn't get a reset that day. Then I got a hold of this broker that had some freight out of Washington going down to Florida. It was a big long haul. At that point, I'm just like, I was so sick of this small stuff because it keeps canceling. I was like, screw it, I'll take a long haul. And but it couldn't pick up until the next day. This would have been Wednesday morning. And I think I only had 20 or 30 hours left on my 70. This was picking up in Washington going to Florida. So obviously I wasn't going to be able to do that. I had to do a 34, and I said, well, I'll just go ahead and complete a 34. The load can't pick up till Thursday anyway, so Wednesday I did a 34, and then Thursday I got freight on my trailer. So that's rare for me to be delivering on a Monday and not getting repicked up until Thursday. That was a lot of days down. Really kind of ticked me off, but it couldn't be avoided. I tried to avoid it, and loads canceled, and then you get screwed up, and crap happens, guys. It's trucking. So then Thursday, that was the 11th, I picked up that load of lumber going down to Tampa, Florida. Delivered that, deadheaded up to Mobile, Alabama, picked up a load of steel. It was steel plate, 10 foot too wide. That was an oversized load. Ran oversized from Mobile, Alabama up to Plains, Montana. I think I missed some stuff, guys. So the load of lumber going down from Washington to Florida paid $6,300. Then that oversized steel plate, Mobile, Alabama to Plains, Montana, paid $77.50. And then I finished up that a couple of days ago, I want to say, and then I deadheaded over to Florida. Because that same broker, Florida, deadheaded over to Washington because that same broker had another one going down to Tampa, and Christmas is coming, and right in the middle of this week is Christmas, and I already pretty much decided when I took that steel load that I wasn't going to get home because I was too far away from home. I live in Wyoming, so I figured I'd just work over the holiday, so that means I need a big load that takes me over the holiday. So I decided to just commit to a long deadhead and get a big load on my trailer. I'd already knew the broker. Him and I have trust each other, and so I thought, I'll just commit to a big deadhead, and I already knew I was going to be a big deadhead going to Montana anyway. So I booked another one of those cedar loads going down to Florida, identical load going to the identical spot. So that'll be nice. It'll be fun because you already know the routine. Went and picked that up yesterday, and I'm currently in Montana with that load now. That load paid another $6,300. So going through the month, we had starting out 3,500, then 2,600, then 6,300, then 7,750, then 6,300. And this load will deliver Monday after Christmas, which I think is the 29th. So it's possible that I get another, I should be getting another load on the trailer before the end of December. And the way I break my invoices is the day that the load picks up is the day I invoice that load. So as far as, what we claim per month, we claim each invoice date that's in that date. So if I pick up freight on the last day of the month, it gets invoiced for that month. So it's possible that we get over 26, because if you add up all those numbers, it's like $26,400. So we had a good month. I had a good month in this truck, which I was not expecting it. I was expecting December not to be good because I had all the extra office work in my bunk, I should say bunk work, on the laptop, booking loads and keeping drivers busy. So I wasn't expecting to have a good December. So I'm pretty happy about that. 26,000 is a good month for me. That's a lot of revenue. I try to hit a little over 20,000. 21, 22,000 is a nice month, good solid month, but 26 is definitely good. So, and I have the ability to book more freight in December because I'll have basically 3 more days left of December. So if I really wanted to, I could book a long haul out of Alabama and we could get over 30,000 for the month, which would probably be my best month ever. And it only happened that way just because it wasn't that freight was paying better. You guys, freight has not been paying better. It's just I booked a lot of long hauls, and long hauls have the ability to really push that revenue up because you're doing nothing but driving. You drive a lot of miles though, so my mileage rate or my RPM is not very good because I've driven so many miles this month. I don't know how much it is, but when I get done with the month, it's not going to be over 2. I was sitting at 2 when I delivered that oversized load. And this load pays less than 2 loaded, and I deadheaded a big deadhead to get here. Now, a lot of the reason that's so low is because that's tracking all the way back through November. And I did a lot of out of route miles in November. I did a lot of going to Panama City just because I wanted to be there. PC miles, just going there and just to have a good weekend, which was like a vacation for me, right? So really I should get rid of those miles. Also, on the load up from Panama City up to Wisconsin that finished out my November, I had a driver breakdown in St. Louis, and it was the day after, it was like Sunday after Thanksgiving. Nobody was around. All the shops were closed. None of the mobile guys wanted to do anything. Remember, we had that storm in with the first snowstorm of the season was that day. And my driver broke down on the side of the road. Couldn't get his truck started. His APU wouldn't start. He's freezing. He had his wife with him and his little dog. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I ended up being like 400 miles away, because I was coming up in, and so I called everybody I could think to call to get him saved, and nobody could go out there to save him. He called an Uber and got somewhere where he was warm and that sort of thing. But so I ended up deadheading over to him. Not deadheading, I was loaded, but I ended up going out a route quite a distance to get to him because I had the battery jump box with me. And so he was having battery trouble. Ended up being 2 batteries were dead. They got broken from the bumps probably, and they started robbing power from his truck, and he had no power all of a sudden. So anyway, I don't know how many miles that was out of route. I didn't even track it. I just needed to get there. So there was just a bunch in November of out of route mileage. So, you know, if you take all that out, I'm probably over $2 a mile, but we can't take that out because we go odometer to odometer, right? So anyway, if I just started odometer from December, I might be over 2 then, because we'd get rid of all that out of route miles that happened in November. So anyway, that was my December, guys. It was actually a pretty good month. I have been pissed off and mad most of December because I've just been overwhelmed with work, and I can't, like, it just seems like I don't get a break. But looking back on November, seeing the big revenue, I'm kind of thankful. And it's nice when you see a month that, because here's the thing, I you know, I kind of think that revenue matters more in a lot of cases, at least for a company my size, than rate per mile. Everybody talks about rate per mile. Oh, this load paid $3 a mile. This load paid $4 a mile. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. Like, I'm sorry, guys. The $4 a mile freight, the $2 a mile freight, the $1.50 a mile freight, none of that really matters. At the end of the month, what matters is how much money you made. And so if you don't do nothing but $3 per mile freight, but each load is 200 miles, you're going to go broke pulling $3 per mile freight. Because if it's $3 per mile, loaded mile, and you've got 200 miles, what is that, $6 a mile, or sorry, $600 for the load, and you probably deadheaded a minimum of 50 miles to get it. So first of all, your all-in miles isn't $3 a mile, and you only made $600 a day, and you probably only did that 5 days, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can't do much on the weekend when you're pulling short loads like that. So sometimes the rate per mile, guys, is not the right thing to look at. If we're comparing load to load, then you need to look at rate per mile to see which one pays better, which lane pays better. And that's what we look at rate per mile for. But as far as profitability, guys, you can be extremely profitable like I was this month when you are down in the, if I took a guess at it, and I start, like I said, when I tracked it, I tracked my whole hitch, which started back in November. But if I just start tracking my mileage from the time I made my delivery in Wisconsin, I'm probably over 2, but not much. Probably barely over 2, 203 maybe. And so you can be very profitable at $2 a mile or even under 2 if you're putting down lots of revenue, because your fixed costs attack your revenue. When you have a truck payment, when you have a trailer payment, when you have high insurance price, all these costs that come in monthly, the revenue is what matters. So my point there is that I have a lot of costs in my company. So sometimes having that high revenue, you start to not worry too much about how much fuel am I buying when you have a $26,000 month revenue, right? You start to not care too much about some of the other costs because the revenue handles it and covers it. So that's kind of what I mean. It all depends on your operation. If you are someone that has everything paid for and you're just running a very, very lean operation, then you can start getting to the shorter loads that pay higher rate per mile, and then you start worrying about rate per mile and keeping your daily costs low, like fuel, keeping your fuel costs low, right? Which as a percentage, if you're getting $3 a mile per loaded mile and you're paying 50 cents per mile or 50 cents per mile for fuel, you start getting fuel as a smaller percentage of your revenue, and then that starts mattering. But when you have other costs coming in, like payroll, right, for all the employees, you've got payroll tax, you've got fuel for all the trucks. You start having a larger company where all these prices start to come in, all these costs start to come in. Then you start looking at revenue again and say, okay, well, you know, we need that revenue. And so I kind of am more, if someone asks me, what do you need to do to be profitable, even as a one truck owner operator, I would say, you know, you can't ignore rate per mile because you can't just run freight for cheap. But sometimes what matters more than rate per mile is dollars per day and dollars per week and dollars per month, because that's what keeps the doors open. So sometimes you need to take that cheap freight to get to the high freight. Sometimes you need to deadhead 600 miles to get to the high freight, simply to keep your revenue high. I did a lot of that this month. I deadheaded out of Florida all the way from Tampa to Mobile to pick up that steel load because I didn't have the time to fiddle around with getting a load in between those two distances. I had to get there, I had to get it picked up, and I had to run. So sometimes it pays the bills to keep your, you know, like I said, most of the fact that I'm low is because of my high deadhead. If you look at just my loaded miles, it's probably 230. I don't know. But so anyway, guys, that was my December. Pretty good December. I'm pretty happy about that. That will help me out quite a bit because my November was pretty awful. And so I am looking forward to spring, guys. We have flatbed season is coming. Thank God, flatbed season's coming, guys. Warmer weather's coming and flatbed season's coming. I'm excited for it. So we just got to stay in business long enough to get to the good time, right? We've been saying that for the last 4 years. Every trucking company out there has been saying that for the last 4 years. Hang in there until the market flips. I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. How was your December? Did you guys make it home for Christmas? What are you guys looking at next year? Are you looking forward to spring? What are you guys going to change in your business coming up into the new year? That's a very interesting thing. Every year I kind of look at the year. At the end of every year, I look at the year and try to look at how are we going to, what things are we going to change? How are we going to pivot to increase profits? And haven't had a chance to sit down and look at that yet. So let me know, guys. Let me know how you guys are doing.